Hello, my name is Brian Davis and welcome to Davis Foot Orthotic Solutions. Today we're going to learn about how to measure your foot so you can find the right fitting shoe wear. What we're going to do is we're going to use this device. It's called the brannock device and it should be found in any of the shoe stores that you go into. What you need to understand first off is that there's a brannock device designed for women, a brannock device designed for men, and a device designed for children. So you got to make sure that you find the one that's for you. Typically they'll have women's or men's or children's somewhere on the heel area of either side. So what we're going to do today is we're going to demonstrate how to measure your foot, the length of your foot, the width of your foot, and we'll use an anatomical model so you can see what I'm talking about and where the locations of the device should be, and then we'll do the same demonstration on a live individual. Okay guys, let's take a look and see how we measure your foot so you can get an accurate fit and a good pair of fitting shoes or sneakers. And we're going to use the brannock device, and as we see, this brannock device is a woman's brannock device. And it designates the term women's here and there, so somewhere on the device in the shoe store it should say men's or women's or children. What we also see is that this cup, this heel cup, is for the right heel and this heel cup is for the left heel. This slide here is called the ball slide, which we'll discuss, and this slide here is the width slide. And this grid here is for the length of the foot. So let's take the anatomical model and let's take a look at measuring the foot. And what we want to make sure is that when you measure your foot that you are standing. When you stand, your foot lengthens at least 1/4 of an inch and the width gets larger for it by at least 1/8 of an inch. And if you're an abnormal pronator, which a fair majority of the population is, the foot will lengthen and widen even more so than 1/4 of an inch or 1/8 of an inch. So make sure you're standing. The other recommendation is to make sure when you're buying shoes, when you're sizing yourself for shoes, that you do it at the end of the day. At that point in time, your feet are at its largest. And so you want to make sure that you are accommodating for that largest foot size at the end of the day. So again, let's make sure that you're standing, and what happens is the foot will lengthen when you pronate, and what you want to do is make sure the heel is all the way back against the cup, and you want to look at the length of the longest toe. Now on the case of this model, the longest toe is the second toe. That's also called a Morton's toe when the second toe is the longest toe of the foot. So this second toe goes right to the 7th line, so I would qualify this person as having a lady size 7 in length, and that gives us the length between the heel and the toe. What we also want to take a look at is the length between the heel and the ball of the foot, and what we use is the ball slide, and we make sure that the ball slide is lined up exactly with, and you're looking at the middle point here, with the middle point of the joint of the big toe, or the first MTP joint, metatarsal phalangeal joint. So when we line the slide up with the joint, what we're seeing is that the length between the heel and the ball is a lady size 8. So it's slightly different than the length from the heel to the toe. And the significance of that is that on average the ratio of the heel to the ball and the heel to the toe is about a 2-to-1 ratio. So 2/3 of the length should be from the heel to the ball, and the last 1/3 is from the ball to the toe. And so what you want to do is just be aware that this person's length from the heel to the ball is slightly on the other side of sort of the average length, slightly longer. So the significance of that is that when that ratio is slightly longer or shorter, that could be a factor when you're matching up the foot with the shoe wear. If you always want to make sure when the foot is inside the shoe that where the shoe bends, the toes bend. So depending on the type of shoe wear, a longer ratio or a shorter ratio can be interfered with a little bit. With sneakers, there's usually a little bit of play with it, with the where the shoe bends. It usually doesn't interfere with this. On a very high-end shoe or a certain style shoe, there may be a lot of midfoot reinforcements, and that could be a problem where it doesn't match up with the shoe break doesn't match up with the toe break or the toe bend. Okay, so let's just assume everything is okay. So we have the length of the foot when the person is standing, and we'll say it's a lady size 7. We have our heel to ball ratio or length, and that is an 8. So what we want to do now is we want to push the width slide over and push it relatively firmly against the side of the foot, or the outside of the foot. And what we're going to do is we're going to use the heel to ball length, and we're going to plot it on the slide, and you'll see that the slide it goes from a 1 to a 15 with half size increments. We're going to plot it on the slide, and then we're going to follow that down to a grid on the brannock device, and we're going to see where that meets, and basically a size 8 meets between a size A and a double A, which is considered a narrow foot. So what we have with this model is that this person's length is a size 7, a lady size 7, and that we need to start with a shoe with a narrow width between an A or an A or a double A. And that's where we start when we fit our shoe size. Now, you have to understand that there are so many different companies, so many different models within the same company, and that a size 7 is not standard across company to company, from model to model. So you always just have to have a starting point, and then you assess the fit itself. And we went over the fit in another video, so why don't you look for that and sort of refresh your memory with it. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to measure someone's foot using the brannock device. And it's very simple. You put it on the floor. We have right heel, left heel. We're going to start with the right foot. We're going to ask our patient to put the heel all the way in against the back rail, and we're going to ask them to stand. Okay? So you want to make sure you do it in standing, because you want to make sure you get the full length of the foot, since it lengthens when you stand and it widens when you stand. Okay, so now we're going to take a closer look at this measurement. Okay, so here we have the brannock device. We have our patient standing in the device, or a person, and we're going to first look at the slide. So this is the ball slide, and we're going to bring this and we're going to make it equal to the center of her first metatarsal joint, and we'll line that exactly up with that, and then we're going to slide the width gauge over and press it firmly against the foot, and we have the heel all the way in the back. We take a look at her longest toe, which is her first toe, and her first toe, just relax, put your way through it. Her first toe, when she leans into it, is between a 9, 9.5. So I would say that her length should be 9.5, or that's the shoe she should start out with her fit. If we look at the heel to ball measurement, we'll see that she falls just closer to a 9, but somewhere between a 9, 9.5. So we take this measurement, and we'll just say it's a 9, and we're going to plot it over here on the slide bar. And when we go to the 9 on the slide bar, and we trace it down to the grid on the brannock device, what we'll see is that she falls between a B and a C, probably closer to a B. So she's in a medium width shoe, and I would say that she should start out looking at a 9.5 size.